Hey there, this is a quick introduction to Carnage Heart EXA. This is the follow-up to the original Carnage Heart from 1997, and they've made tons of improvements. It's available on the PS network on either Vita or PSP. Let's jump quickly into a test battle, and I can explain what the game's about and tell you how it works. Alright, let's start the test. The game is a robot programming game where you customize the hardware and the software of your robots, and then you have them fight it out. There's a story mode, so you run through stories, and also some challenge battles, and supposedly there's some multiplayer option. I think it's only local multi, though. Although if you have a PS3 to bind to, I think you can do it still over the internet. So here I've got a bunch of different, I think actually 6 different robots that I've created running different software. They're on 2 different teams, and they're working together, each team, to try to defeat the other team. I'm going to show you a little bit of an overview of how to customize the hardware and the software, and it looks like we have a winner. Nope, we don't have a winner yet. It's 2 tank types going at it, and it looks like one of them is overheating, and oh, that one hit a mine, so now its damage is critical, but the other one, oh, it's gone. Okay, so there you go. So that was a close battle. Alright, so what just happened here? Alright, let's look at configuring an OKE. Let's select one that I have something set for. So this is a tripod. It's a hovering type OKE. Overkill engine, by the way, is OKE. And that means that it isn't affected by mines, at least not those that are just on the ground, but it's maneuverable. It can carry more than a flying type, but it's a little bit lighter than your ground walkers. So for ground you have tank treaded, you have 2-legged or multi-legged. For hardware, you can choose, these are just a couple of the bodies that I've bothered to buy. I've only just started into the story, so I bought the ones that seemed useful. Then you can also change the colors. For hardware, you can choose a CPU, and there are different sizes CPUs, the different processing speeds, with different advantages. You got your armor thickness, additional armor types, weapons. This one can load up to 3 different types of weapons. You can see there are missiles and mines and let's see, decoys. That's for if you've got someone's firing missiles at you. You can shoot decoys, and you know, it'll do exactly what a decoy, chaff, or flare does for an airplane. And so you set up your hardware, and then you do your software. And this is where the real meat of the game is. This is a pretty simple program, but you can get really, really complex ones. This is a medium-sized CPU. You can get really big CPUs with really complex programs. Now, if you've played the original Carnage Heart, they made so many improvements in this one. If I remember correctly, in the original, if you wanted to turn towards an enemy, you had to first scan to the right to see if the enemy was to your right, and if it was, then you had to turn to the right. And here, and the same for the left. Here you just lock onto the enemy with that, and then this one auto-rotates. You can engage and disengage auto-rotation to point at the enemy. Boom, you're done. So they took out a ton of complexity, put into 2 chips, and you can get to real logic rather than like boring movement logic. I'm not going to go over really what all these chips do. I'll give you a quick introduction. These are process chips. This one does nothing. It just lets you path, because you have to join all your chips together, and sometimes you don't have anything useful to fill a space. This one pauses, waits for fire to complete. You can communicate between robots, so robots can tell each other what target they're on, and they can gang up on a target. And this one's special. It lets you control one of the robots. Okay, lots of conditionals. These are all the things that you can either scan for or check, and then make a decision and branch your logic based on, like, this is just a random 50%, but here this is like incoming weapon fire. If your heat or your damage armor is too low, you can activate something to repair it. If your robot's stumbling, if you're too close to the outside of the battle arena, all kinds of things. Here are your actions, things like stopping turn, moving, turning, jumping, like scooting, quick turn, or quick move and quick turn, melee attack, you're defending, firing weapons. These are some orders. So this one, for example, is fly to a particular altitude, use one of those optional equipments. I showed you the locking on and changing the camera, that kind of stuff, and that's everything. It's a lot of chips though, and it looks really, really overwhelming, but they have an incredibly good tutorial system. So here are all the lessons, and each one introduces a concept or a chip, some two, and then it sets you loose on a mission to use those chips and the new concepts to defeat an enemy. And you can see it's a ton of lessons. They each take quite a while, and they're very, very helpful. And then once you've done that, you're into the story mode. So here's my mission, and I'm not going to try it well, I guess let's see what happens when I fail a mission. I will fail this mission. But that's pretty much the basics of it. I can't go into any super big detail about how to program your OKEs, because frankly it's too complicated. That's why it takes like a 20-hour tutorial. But don't let that scare you. Again, the tutorial's fun. I mean, you learn how to use these things while you're doing it. It's not just all learning. You're also setting them up and battling them. So that's about it for now. Check it out. It's on the PlayStation Store, and again, really distinct and unique game. There's really nothing like it out there. So if you're a programmer in particular, or if you're interested in programming, this is a really good way to learn to think about how to program. Hey, look, I'm kind of doing okay. All right, I'm just going to let this run out, and we'll see how this battle plays out. Oh, let me turn up the volume too. Uh-oh, one of my guys just got destroyed. Oh, these are the try versus errors. Yeah, my guys are all set up against airborne targets, and that's not